Assalamu alaikum. I'm Ibrahim Casey. Here we are again in this AFC Arab-Filipino community. We do videos every Saturday, 11 o'clock, and we try to upload like 1 or 2 videos a week. So we already did introduction for what is this program about. We have a page. Don't forget to like and follow, and you can give your question, and we will answer it, inshallah. Last week, someone asked us 3 questions. There are 3 comments that I read. Ito, huwag kayong aalis ha. Magtatagalog tayo mamaya, inshallah. So last week, may nagtanong 3 katanungan na nabasa natin sa comment. First question was, what dishes do Arab-Filipino prepare in the house? Yan eh. If it is Filipino food or Arab food they always eat. And what language they use inside the house. So, unang katanungan, anong pagkain daw ang hinahanda ng Filipino-Arab na pamilya sa loob ng bahay at anong lengguwahe ang ginagamit nila sa loob ng bahay? Second question, it is true that Arabian women cannot marry non-Arab? Arabian woman, yeah. So, totoo ba ang Arabiana ay hindi pwede mag-asawa ng lalaki na hindi Arabo? Third question, last is, it is impossible if a Filipino housemaid became a wife of her kafil, some of the family members, and how it will be the reaction of the man's family. So, posible ba, tinanong ng isa sa nag-comment, na ang isang Pilipina na kasambahay ay nahulog siya sa kafil niya, nagkagusto sa kafil, o naging asawa niya ang kafil niya, in-offeran siya na maging asawa, or isa sa pamilya ng amo niya. Posible ba yun? At ano mo kaya magiging reaction ng pamilya ng lalaki kung ang isang babae ay ganun lang ang kanyang naging position sa buhay? So inshallah, we will start all this question to answer it from our Arab-Filipino families here we have, and both based on their experience, yani through questions from their experience of marriage and being with the Filipina wife. So that's the introduction, my introduction. Who will start to speak?
I think Brother Khalid begin first. He is the respected, he is honored because he is the oldest.
Allah Ibarik.
Of course, his experience is longer than us.
Allah Ibarik.
Okay, we will answer the first question. What food it was prepared and what language you use in the house?
Actually, this week in our house, it was really, let's say 30%, 40% Filipino food, and the other is Arab food. My wife, just a few hours ago, we have our lunch, which is sinigang isda, sinigang sa kamates, sinigang sa kamates na isda. It is like mackerel or small tuna. They call it small tuna, or there is another name is called. In Batangas, they call it, it's not pangos, mackerel. They call it mackerel, something like that, mackerel. A few days ago, also sweet and sour. And there was, almost 30 to 40% this week is Filipino food. The other was upside down, makluba. I think every Arab knows makluba. It is a classical Palestinian dish. When Salah ad-Din al-Ayyubi, he liberated Jerusalem, he was offered, they call it batinjaniya, which is talong, ang talong sa taas, yung kanin sa ilalim. Sabi ni Salah ad-Din, anong tawag dito sa pagkain na yan? Sabi, batinjaniya. Sabi niya, hindi, upside down, kasi yung manok tsaka yung nilalagay sa ilalim ng kuldero, tapos niluto ang kanin sa tubig ng manok. Sinaing muna yung manok, tapos yung sabaw ng manok nilalagay doon sa kanin, tapos pagluto na lahat, pinabaliktad na. Kaya upside down ang tawag doon. So, this is almost our weekly food. Bansit is occasional when there's an occasion or when there's a request. Actually, my daughter has been requesting for palabok for some time now, but unfortunately, I went to the store where we purchased this Mamacita ready mix. Mamacita, alam niyo siguro yan. Wala, puro expired na daw. So the Filipino cuisine is always present in our house. Tufo also was added last week with the sweet and sour. Tufo with, yung meron kang tufo with some vegetables, and also a side dish will be sibuyas na meron suka at kunting sili at kunting toyo. Yan ang pinaka number one. Tapos ang masarap doon, kainin mo talaga kamay. Mas masarap pag nagkakamay. So, who's next? That's for our week.
Inshallah, yani balance. Sometimes Arab, sometimes Filipino food.
Yes. Okay. So I have an experience with Malaysian food while I was a young man in college time. So I got used to eat the difficult foods for Arab. What is the dry fish or kinds of fish, and have something for Malaysian. It's near like bagoong. So most of the Filipino food I can eat. I don't have any problem as an Arab to eat the Filipino food. Bagoong,
You can smell that bagoong?
dry fish, or so I can eat all. When I get married, our life looks like 100% Filipino food. We eat rice 3 times a day. But after a time, I asked my wife that we need to have a balance because we have children. The children need to learn both of the 2 cultures. So we begin to have some kind of bread in the morning and some kind of bread at night. But also we come to eat rice sometimes 3 times a day or maybe 2 times a day. In my house, about 80% of the food is Filipino. So our cuisine is Filipino cuisine. My wife cook whatever she likes. We have the Filipino spices all. We have soya sauce or maybe the tsuka or whatever. We have all kind of sauces. We are eating pancit. So in my house, 80% is Filipino food, and I don't mind to have 100% Filipino food because of my background with eating Malaysian food, which is close to the Filipino food. But sometimes we are eating.
Sheikh Khalid knows how to cook pancit.
I don't know how to cook.
I saw the YouTube channel. He knows how to cook.
My wife sometimes is trying to think of my culture. Then she's trying to cook mahshi. Mahshi is a vegetable full of rice, or maybe sometimes kushari. And one of the foods is close to Egyptian kitchen. It's minudu. I like menudo because it looks like like Egyptian food. It's menudo from beans, the green beans. That's it. So we are happy. We have we respect each other's cultures, and the children also get used to all kind of foods.
You forgot the language, that what you used to use language inside the house.
Regarding the language, you can say that is the main language in the house is English. Sometimes it's Taglish, because some of the words we are using Filipino language, the same as basa, the same as basura, dali. So some of the words we got to use Filipino words, Tagalog words, but the main language of the house is English. The children go to Arab school, then they begin to talk in Arabic, but our main language, you can say English. In Qatar here, most of the Arab Filipino families are using the English as their main house language, the first language of the family.
Thanks for sharing. Let's go back to Khalid about the language. He forgot.
Yeah, actually, the language for me is when I talk to my wife, we speak Filipino, pure Filipino. And sometimes when I want to tease her, I speak their dialect, which is Filipino, Batangas. Kapag nagsasalita ng Batangas,
I think they are the original Tagalog, yeah.
Yeah.
MashaAllah, Sheikh
Yes.
Khalid.
Buntong Tagalog, Buntong Batangas. When speaking to the children when they were young, I insisted on using Arabic because they have to catch the language itself, the vowels, the kha, the ha, you know that. But with
Rain,
certain
rain.
things, عين, غين, ضاد, but with the mixing that with some Tagalog, especially for those embarrassing terms, mabaho, tatae, puputa, nuno, dedede. So since they are young still, they are using that language. Even with my grandchildren now, they are following the same scheme. Even my eldest son is married to an Arab Circassian, but still we are using Filipino terminology with him, but Arabic is the main language for the children. With my wife, as I said, it's purely Filipino. Thank you.
Inshallah. Next to Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum. Regarding my experience as half Filipino, half Egyptian, we have firstly the language. I will speak first the language.
Okay.
We have 4 languages inside the house. We speak.
Inshallah.
My father is fluent in Maguindanao, which is a dialect in Filipino language, one of the dialects. He is very fluent in Maguindanao, and we speak also Maguindanao with him Araturian,
MashaAllah.
non-stop. And he speak sometimes English, depending upon his mood. When he angry, he speak Arabic. When he
So
is
you know
joking,
it's English.
yeah, when he's very serious, he speak in Arabic. Aratul, he speaks straight Arabic. So we know something is wrong. So sometimes he
by the way-
speak Tagalog when he joke a little.
By the way, that is the mother tongue appears mostly in the when you are angry. Everybody when he's angry is speaking his mother tongue.
Yeah. Pongeta ka.
Now we have
So
to
when he is when we are doing joking and doing normal work at home, he speak Maguindanao, English, some Arabic. Sometimes we speak one sentence in 4 languages. One sentence is in 4 languages. And sometimes we're going outside, we are speaking Maguindanao in front of Egyptian fellows, so they are astonished by the experience of my father. You know, this is Egyptian, and he's speaking language that we are out of his world, you know.
sounds like Malaysian.
Yeah, and also the food sometimes my mother served 2 dishes, you know, Arabian and Egyptian and Filipino dishes in one meal. We eat kushari sometimes with the fish, with the vegetables, you know, mix. So we cannot say that I don't want this food, I don't want the meal today, I don't want the meal in the morning, because you can find everything you want. If you want Arab food, you can find. If you want Filipino food, also you can find. If you want Maguindanao, you can request. But my father is eating all the Maguindanao food except 2 foods. One food, they called it tuyo in Tagalog.
Yeah.
He never eat tuyo. He said that
Dry
dry fish. He said that why the Filipino people making the fish dry while it was fresh? I can eat it fresh. Why? For what reason they make it dry? That's his answer. The second thing is the food we eat in Maguindanao during Eid. We called it tapay.
Tapay.
Tapay. He never eat tapay. He said, why does the food should be like that? Should be, they make it like a little bit rotten like that. I don't know how is the process, but it is masarap, by the way.
Kagit-git, you know?
Kagikit. We eat. He also eat kagikit. We eat kagikit pastel, and even all the fishes there, because some Filipinos they don't eat dalag. I don't know if Sheikh Khalid and Sheikh Mahmoud are familiar with dalag fish. Dalag.
It's like dry fish also?
It's like catfish, but it's not catfish. It's a mudfish. It's
hito,
it's a Maguindanao.
Hito?
No, it's not hito. It's dalag.
Okay.
And the Filipino people, they know about it, and most of them they don't eat it because it's a mudfish. It's masarap also, and he eats it. They don't have any hesitation for that.
the word masarap, it's related to the traditions or the way that you got used to it. So it is something different from one person to another. It's a cultural terminology, cultural issue. I can say masarap, you say no. You can say masarap, I say no. But it comes
Of course,
for
of
me,
course.
for me, because I got used to Malaysian food while I was young. So I don't mind any Filipino food. Malaysian have a dry fish, and they have something like bagoong, all this kind of fish foods Arab cannot eat. I can eat because I got used to it while I was young, man. That's it. And I saw it masarap.
Which one of you eat tuyo,
I
I
can
eat
eat
tuyo
dry,
also.
dry fish? Sheikh Khalid eat?
I can eat dry
Yes,
fish.
I can.
Sheikh Khalid.
Mahmoud, you eat?
Yes, I can.
Dry fish?
Dilis,
Yes, I eat.
dilis, and also tinapa. Tinapa, they call it tinapa.
Tinapa,
Oh,
yes.
yes, very good.
Right. Yes, I can eat. Bagoong, no problem. Anchovies, provided that there is no pork lard there.
The oil, yeah. But so smelly. Yeah, because we used to have foreigners in our place. They passed by that market. There was dry fish. He said, "What kind of smell that? It's like a garbage there." They're not used to it.
Malaysian people, they're eating something called belacan and something called voodoo. It looks like bagoong also.
Voodoo.
Sheikh,
Yeah.
Sheikh Mahmoud, فسيخ, not
Fasikh, yeah,
not
it is
from the
just
Fasikh.
close to fasikh.
Yes, fasikh is the same way, salted also, but not the same smell as bagoong or dry fish. So, and also,
Yes,
no,
yes.
Not all bagoong is smelly. Some bagoong is really not smelly. It depends on the way they dry it. I've seen it in some markets. It's delicious, really, and not smelly at all. There's some dry fish.
the time that I was young, I brought many Malaysian food to my house. Most of my family, they didn't eat it, while it was so delicious. They don't like to try. They don't have any intention even to try. So some people like that. Some people like that.
Yeah.
I have Arab.
You
I have
remember
Arab.
last session I talked about my grandmother.
Yeah. Yeah.
My
Some of the
grandmother,
Arab,
she once came to me. Khalid, you can try any food, but how come you allow your wife to cook fish when it is with sugar? It's not يعني proper. Why you allow her? Well, I like it. It's so, sweet and sour. Masarap yun. Just
yes,
try
I like
it.
it also. I like it so
Rasulullah
much
sallallahu alaihi
also.
wasallam, he will not eat it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very delicious, sweet and sour.
Right.
And now everybody is eating Chinese with sweet and sour.
Really, Malaysian
Okay, for
also
me-
cook with salt and sugar. Arab doesn't got this
Sugar.
culture, so they got surprised. Why are you using sugar in your cooking? In Arab culture, we don't have this kind
For
of.
me,
Okay.
I will just share also as a half Palestinian Filipino. I remember even in Gaza for 7 years. It's also balanced, like you guys. Like sometimes my mother, she used to cook in the breakfast and the lunch for Filipino, and sometimes in the dinner, my father will cook. Or sometimes the Palestinian way of small dinner, only like khobs, the za'atal, and in the breakfast, it's really totally like Egyptian Palestinian with the the khiyar, the vegetable, the kamatis, and with the cheese, eggs, and khobos, and what you call that, the za'atal like this. But on the lunch, sometimes it is a fried fish, and then every Friday, my father used to cook the best Palestinian food like magluba. In the Philippines, he used to cook every Friday Palestinian dishes. So it's also balanced. About the language, but I don't know about the dry fish, if he's used to it. Maybe I remember sometimes he doesn't want the smell. It's really not good. But the language, I speak to my mother in Tagalog. That's why I learned Tagalog from her. And in my father, when I don't know how to speak yet Arabic, I used to speak with him in English. So I grow up using, but he's using to me Arabic until we go to Philippines. Sometimes he used to me Arabic with English, and my mother Tagalog only. So it's been balanced. When he was gone, no more. The Arabic also was gone already. No more. And that is, I just stick with English and Tagalog. That's why when I came back to Saudi, some words are reminding me again. But they have the different accent here, but I like it, so I'm learning it, inshallah.
Inshallah, Rabbil Alameen.
But now I'm studying in King Saud in the morning for the Arabic Fusha. For it is 2 years course, so inshallah. I wanted to learn the Fusha Arabic also.
Yeah, we have to remember children can easily learn 3 languages, very easy, can simultaneously learn 3 languages. It depends on the language you talk to them. If the father, for example, use Arabic and English and the mother Filipino and English or Maguindanao and English, they can go through 3 languages very easily without any problems. That's my experience.
I remember because my mother, she's using me sometimes to translate her what is happening in the house, what did my grandmother said or my grandfather, or so she used me. What did he say? We speak in Tagalog, so we use it as a spy or password for us both. 2 of us only can understand. But sometimes he also told me to speak it fast because my aunt, she can pick up the words, she can like familiar the words, understand a little bit Tagalog. Because that's why she let me speak fast of Tagalog. Before I was her translator. If we have visitor, those Palestinian kids have Filipino. They speak with my mother, but Arabic. So my mother let me translate it from Arabic to Tagalog before. So I think we already answered all the questions. Mashallah, this is a nice video. It's cost only like 10 minutes. We answer all the question of that. The first question, yeah. So we are ready to the second question. Is there any last word we wanted to share to the people who are watching, Filipino who are watching? No.
No, I think
The mic, you are mute. So at least now they already see from your experience that everything is balanced. The food inside the house, they got idea now. So
I think the understanding and respect between husband and wife will solve all the problems about food, about language anyway.
But I have to stress something actually is try your best, especially in the first few months, never in front of your in-laws speak another language that they do not understand. In the Arabic culture, even in the Filipino culture, I believe it's considered unprofessional and disrespectful if you speak a language your in-laws or her in-laws doesn't understand. They will think that they are hiding something, they are talking about us, or they are doing something. So we have to really, in the first few months, unless there is a chemistry will start between the wife and her in-laws, or the husband and her in-laws, try to avoid it, please. That's the best idea.
It is the teaching of our Prophet. If 3 people, the 2 are talking another language, the other doesn't understand, they should let the guy know what they are talking about.
Yes, yes.
Okay, any last message before we stop and proceed to the next question? Finish? Okay, so thank you for watching.
Sheikh Mahmoud is muted. Sheikh Mahmoud.
You want to say something before we end?
Okay.
Proceed to the next question now. Finish?
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for watching. Go to watch our second video. The question that you saw in the intro, we are going to answer it in the next video and see you there.